Hey, it's been way too long since I've done anything remotely productive with this channel. It's probably been like a month since I last uploaded by the time I get this uploaded, but I finally had time to sit down and record. I've been pretty busy with life and also recently got Cyberpunk 2077. Been totally running around Night City like an idiot. Anyway, all that aside, I posted a poll on the community tab with a few different series I want to talk about. The winner of the poll was The Guy She's Interested In Wasn't a Guy at All by Sumiko Arai. I was planning on getting this manga eventually, but one of my sisters also wanted to check it out, so it's a win-win when I can lend someone a book after I've read it. I feel like this manga has been super popular lately, which I didn't even realize how popular until I started looking into it. Let's chat about it. Alright, full spoilers ahead, and let's get into it. The Guy She Was Interested In Wasn't a Guy at All follows high school students Aya Osawa and Mitsuki? I do like Mitsuki. And Mitsuki Koga. Aya has a love for Western and rock music, and while perusing music at a local record shop, she begins crushing on the boy who works there. The two develop a bond over their love of music. In actuality, though, the male clerk is her female classmate, Mitsuki Koga, who literally sits right next to her in class. Mitsuki has a Bruce Wayne Batman dichotomy going on, sort of hiding as a nobody during school hours and taking on a more confident, cooler persona at the shop. The first volume in particular feels like a series of vignettes taking place over a vague amount of time rather than a streamlined story progression. It's kind of like snapshots of the girls' lives. I would assume this is because the manga started as a web series on Twitter. It definitely shifts into a more linear story as the manga progresses though. The first volume follows the girls as they're introduced to one another and begin to bond over music. Aya is immediately smitten and talks with her friends about the boy she likes in class. Mitsuki overhears this and makes the totally rational decision to hide her identity from Aya.
Have you seen a little girl who looks like a boy with blue eyes around here? What a stupid question!
Even going as far as calling Aya when she gives Mitsuki her phone number. This dynamic doesn't stem from a malicious intent, but Mitsuki does make a choice not to clear up the confusion, hoping they can bond over music, so the aspects of loneliness in both the girls' lives can be somewhat alleviated. In Aya's case, she has no one to share her passion of music with, feeling isolated in her interests. She is even openly teased by her friends about her choice of music, say that she listens to old man music, while Mitsuki is an outcast in a broader sense, avoiding ostracization, you know what word I'm trying to say.
Ostracization.
By purposely secluding herself. We were also introduced to Mitsuki's Uncle Joe, who owns the record store that she works at. He's an ex-rocker who walked away from the potential spotlight in order to raise his niece. Joe tries to have a heart-to-heart with Mitsuki right from the get-go and is shown to be unconditionally supportive of his niece.
I know you. You know you. And I know you know that I know you.
The story goes on like this for a while, with Mitsuki walking a thin line between flirting and befriending Aya and trying not to blow her cover. There are quite a few hints that could give her away, and we even see flashes of recognition from Aya when she notices the similarities, even directly mentioning her classmate to the record store guy. Towards the middle of volume 1, we're introduced to Magumi Narita, who easily sees through Mitsuki's disguise as the guy in the record store. Narita is a preppy, easygoing classmate and is pretty confident in his capabilities to win people over. He starts to hang around the record shop too, interested in learning to mimic Mitsuki's cool demeanor and also just kind of rooting for the two girls' relationship. He does a lot to try to push the two of them together and even forms a friendly rivalry with Aya about who's the bigger fan of Mitsuki's as the story goes on. Volume 1 picks up speed as the girls and Narita join forces on the executive committee planning the cultural festival for their class. It goes well until Aya recognizes a playlist that she's made for her record store guy on Mitsuki's phone. Finally able to put the pieces together, Aya has a breakdown, thinking that this was a prolonged, purposeful trick on Mitsuki's part. It doesn't feel like Aya is upset that Mitsuki is a girl, but rather because Mitsuki is a classmate and someone Aya directly got to know on a personal level over the course of the story. The girls' falling out is quiet and really comes down to them simply avoiding each other. Their breakup culminates in both almost quitting the committee. With Narita and her Uncle Joe's help though, Mitsuki manages to get Aya to attend the festival's closing party, where Mitsuki performs a song to try winning Aya's friendship back.
音楽ってずるい。こんなにたくさん人がいるのに、私のために弾いてるみたいに聞こえちゃう。だって、レディオヘッドとかみんな絶対知らないじゃん。
This gesture is enough to win Aya back. The remainder of the book sees the girls being more open about their friendship at school and Aya making an effort to blend Mitsuki in with her friend group. This goes about as well as you'd expect, with Aya's friends not really getting what's going on with the girls and feeling like Aya is leaving them behind. The main story of the volume concludes with Mitsuki giving Aya's friend Chizuru a ticket for a concert she was going to see with Aya. This is another attempt for Mitsuki to step back, afraid that she's dismantling Aya's relationship with her friends and trying to engage Chizuru with Aya's interests. I don't want to dive too much further into that though, since it continues on in volume 2 and I'm just focusing on volume 1. I think Sumiko Arai makes it pretty clear, at least to me and in my opinion, that the cooler persona is Mitsuki's true self, but she'd rather blend in under the radar than deal with the consequences of standing out. This is a nice contrast against Aya's more open and spirited personality. Aloof and a bit informal, Mitsuki flip-flops often from being her true self and being completely numb to her own emotions and intentions. After the main story of Volume 1, there is one more section of the book. In flashback, we see that Mitsuki's friend was bullied after defending her on a day when the other girls in the class had decided to wear skirts, while Mitsuki herself didn't actually own any, so couldn't wear one. That moment affected Mitsuki, giving context on why she's so determined to keep her facade up at school, maintaining a subdued reputation, even with the buzz of a mysterious musician who performed in all black at the closing party. Aya is shown to be outspoken and friendly, but feels insecure about her interest in Western and older rock music. The spectrum they listen to is actually pretty broad in scope, ranging from Nirvana and Beck to more modern rock like Willow. However, none of Aya's friends share her passion for music. She's also incredibly honest, speaking with her whole heart and her whole chest to anyone about whatever she's feeling, with some reservations in regards to Mitsuki in particular, but that's really the primary case of kind of her withdrawing. It's also worth mentioning that Aya is Gyaru, or a gal. This is a subculture in Japan that is pretty varied, and I'm not someone who can really delve into it, but there are some great video essays on that subculture on YouTube. Aya, at least in my opinion, falls into the kogal, or the schoolgirl subcategory of Gyaru. I'll link to some videos about Gyaru in the video description. I do think it's worth noting that Gyaru itself is a form of counterculture in Japan, and so I think works well with Aya's love of alternative music and Western media. Joe is a character that we learn a lot more about in Volume 2. He has a love for his niece and is determined to help Mitsuki and her friends to the best of his abilities. He's also voiced by Kenjiro Suda in the drama CD, which I found so many people mentioning online in regards to the series. If you watch anime, you've heard him in something before. Anyway. My overall thoughts on Volume 1. In all honesty, I liked the guy she was interested in wasn't a guy at all, less than I thought I would, which might be a hot take. This is a super popular manga. It is an entirely personal preference. I can totally see why so many people are interested in it. An anime for the series was announced in February, and I might have to check it out whenever it premieres. Overall, though, the manga was just okay for me. I don't read a lot of manga, footnote as well, so that could be why. There are quite a few times where the humor didn't really land for me, and I found myself sort of skimming and then needing to go back and reread sections. At no point did I give up reading the book though, and the moments that hit really hit. The manga is written well and the art is super fun. The heavy use of the brat summer Nickelodeon green really gives the book a distinct look and sense of energy. The panel layouts and the actual art itself, like the characters, backgrounds, all that is super well drawn. Panel blocking and everything looks fantastic. There's a good sense of pacing and, again, energy brought to the book that I think really gives it an interesting vibe. I also really enjoyed the emphasis on music. Coming from a Western perspective and a very unmusically inclined person, I loved looking up some of the music mentioned just to see exactly what the girls were listening to. I don't listen to Willow, but they bring her up enough that I had to check out the album, and it was pretty good. I should mention that I did read Volume 1 and Volume 2, and did enjoy Volume 2 more, so it could also be the structuring of the story, since Volume 2 is a bit more linear and doesn't have quite so many ups and downs in tone and timing. Still, at the end of the day, the manga was just okay for me, at least Volume 1, but I'm really excited to hear what my sister thinks, and would love to see what other people's perspective on the book is. With that in mind, have you read The Guy She Was Interested In Wasn't a Guy at all? And if so, what did you think? please let me know. And if you have similar mangas that you think I should check out, I'd love to see that too. I feel like maybe it's just like my perspective, but I don't see a lot of people talking about like Yuri mangas. But again, that could just be my corner of the internet. I'm sure that there are people where that's their whole blog or whatever. But anyway, thanks YouTube. Have a good night. Bye.